Hi, I'm Dr. Thomas Dannhauser from Smart Start Minds. Today I would like to tell you about our ADHD-specific Concentration Plus program. We've been using and improving it since 2004. An important question that you could ask is, why should we help more? Well, ADHD affects between 5 and 10% of children and is the most common mental health problem that requires intervention. Currently, there is no cure, and it persists into adulthood in around 60% of people, causing long-term problems. A key problem in ADHD is verbal working memory or self-talk impairment. Self-talk is all the thinking that a person does in speech rather than in pictures or emotions. It's very closely related to our ability to speak, and up to 50% of children with ADHD also have speech problems. We believe this is one of the most important problems to address because it can have large beneficial effects. A useful way to think about self-talk is that it is the way we tell ourselves what to say and do, and comment on our own actions. Self-talk has 4 important functions related to ADHD. It helps to plan behavior. If you ask your child to do a task, they can program themselves and monitor their progress by repeating it to themselves. An example is, I will go upstairs, brush my teeth and hair, get my school bag and come back downstairs. It is also crucial for learning, such as required for mathematics. When I ask you, for instance, what 1 plus 1 is, you reply 2, not because you calculated it, but because you know what it sounds like to complete my sentence. It is used in this same way for a lot of learning. Struggling with this makes it harder to do well academically. Self-talk is also very important in motivating yourself, and poor motivation and persistence on tasks are characteristic of ADHD. Lastly, self-talk is used to soothe or calm yourself after you've been hurt, and people who struggle with this are more likely to develop problems like depression. In fact, people with ADHD are 5 times more likely to get depressed. Let's briefly look at how self-talk works. It depends to a large degree on the activity in the front parts of the brain, what we call the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for all the complex behavior that distinguishes us from other animals. These prefrontal areas are very important in related brain processes, including speech, working memory, executive control, attention control, inhibitory control, in other words, not doing things, error monitoring, and planning. This frontal part of the brain does not develop as fast in ADHD. These are the results from the largest study that compared the brains of hundreds of children with ADHD with those of controls. It shows that the frontal brain areas in ADHD do not develop or mature at the same speed. And on the image, this is evident from the lack of blue or purple coloring. You can see, for instance, a 3-year delay in maturation in these areas. And what is important is that it affects attention and all the other prefrontal functions that we spoke about earlier. When we test attention in ADHD, we typically measure speed, accuracy, and consistency on a long, typically boring task. We do this because it tests the frontal parts of the brain. This attention test simply requires that you press a button when you see an X and not when you see an O. A series of X's and O's are shown during the test that takes 10 to 20 minutes to complete. If we show each response as a line on a graph, then it is easy to see that in ADHD, many mistakes are made, seen as short or long red lines, and that during certain periods, no responses are made. We can also see that the lines differ much more in height in ADHD and therefore in response speed. This indicates a lack in consistency, and these findings are evident irrespective of if a lot of responses or few responses are required. If we look at brain activity in the prefrontal areas during this task, we see that in ADHD there are key areas on the left and right that do not activate as much and appear cold. This includes an important speech area and an area that helps sustain attention. The good news is that we can train these areas to increase their power to activate, and this improves attention. At Smart Start Minds, we use near-infrared spectroscopy neurofeedback training, which means that we use ordinary light in a special way to look at activity in real time. By using this technique, we can teach our clients how to voluntarily increase and exercise these key frontal areas. And by doing it repeatedly, the activation in the areas increase, their attention improves, and over time, this leads to improved academic results. And we are now able to offer this training online everywhere. Improved attention leads to improvement in academic achievement, and we've demonstrated this in children in terms of English, mathematics, and other subjects. If you are interested in Concentration Plus ADHD for your child, then please remember that we guarantee our results, that it is available online worldwide, and that you can book now. Thank you for your interest in Concentration Plus ADHD from Smart Start Minds.